In a world where water become myth, the last trader.
The world after the fall. The world was not destroyed in a single day. There was no giant explosion, no alien invasion, no warning. Year after year, the rivers dried, the forests disappeared, the oceans pulled away from the shores. What remained was an endless sea of sand. Civilizations that once touched the clouds were swallowed by the desert. People fought over the last drops of water, and in this harsh new world, survival became the only law. The lone rider. Across the wasteland rode a lone traveler, a man known only as the trader. His motorcycle glided across the dunes, its spherical wheels rolling effortlessly over the shifting sands. His face was hidden beneath a weathered scarf. Dust-covered braids hung from beneath his hood. Nobody knew where he came from. Nobody knew where he was going. But every settlement knew his name, because whenever he appeared, supplies followed. Medicine, food, fools, tools, hope, arrival at Dusthaven. As the sun burned high above the desert, a small settlement appeared on the horizon. Dusthaven, a village built from the remains of ancient machines. Children spotted the rider first. Child. The trader is back. Within moments, people gathered near the gates. Some carried scrap metal. Others carried dried food. Everyone hoped to trade. The trader parked his bike and quietly unloaded his cargo. Scene 4. The warning. An elderly mechanic approached him. Mechanic. You picked a bad day to travel. The trader looked up. Trader. Why? Mechanic. Bandits. The old man pointed toward the western dunes. Mechanic. They've been attacking caravans all week. Trader. How many? Mechanic. Too many. A moment of silence passed. The wind carried sand through the streets. Something felt wrong. Trouble approaches. Suddenly, a loud horn echoed across the desert. The villagers froze. Another horn followed, then another. Everyone knew that sound. Bandits. A lookout screamed from a watchtower. Lookout. Riders approaching. Panic spread through the village. Parents grabbed their children. Merchants rushed to hide their supplies. The trader slowly stood, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The attack. A cloud of dust rose from the dunes. Dozens of motorcycles emerged from the storm. The bandits charged toward Dusthaven. Their leader wore armor made from scavenged metal plates. A skull-shaped mask covered his face. Bandit leader. Hand over your water and nobody dies. The villagers trembled. Nobody moved. The trader stepped forward. The leader laughed. Bandit leader. And who are you supposed to be? The trader tightened his gloves. Trader. Your problem. The fight. The first bandit attacked. The trader dodged effortlessly. One strike. The bandit hit the ground. A second attacker rushed in. The trader grabbed him and threw him into the sand. More enemies charged. The villagers watched in shock. The mysterious trader moved with incredible precision. Years of surviving the wasteland had turned him into a living weapon. One by one, the bandits fell. The leader's defeat. Enraged, the leader charged forward. The two exchanged blows. Sand exploded beneath their feet. The fight lasted only seconds. The trader saw an opening. One powerful strike sent the leader crashing into the ground. Silence filled the battlefield. The remaining bandits immediately retreated. Their engines disappeared into the distance. Dusthaven was safe. The mysterious package. As the villagers celebrated, the trader returned to his motorcycle. Hidden beneath the cargo was a small metal case. Unlike everything else he carried, this package was locked. And strangely, it hummed with a faint blue light. The trader stared at it. For the first time that day, he looked worried. Chapter 1 ending. Narrator. The attack was over. But the real journey was only beginning. Far beyond the endless dunes, someone was searching for the mysterious package, and they would stop at nothing to obtain it. Chapter 2: The City Beneath the Sand. Leaving Dusthaven. Narrator. The morning after the attack, the trader prepared to leave. The people of Dusthaven offered him food, water, and supplies, but he accepted only what he needed. The mysterious metal case remained secured to the back of his motorcycle. The village mechanic watched him carefully. Mechanic. Whatever you're carrying, people are willing to kill for it. The trader remained silent. He started his engine. The spherical wheels rolled forward. Soon, Dusthaven disappeared behind the endless dunes. A message from the past. Narrator. For 3 days, the trader traveled alone. The desert was quiet. Too quiet. On the third night, he stopped near the ruins of an ancient communication tower. Most people avoided places like this. The old world had left behind dangerous secrets. But something drew him inside. As he explored the tower, he discovered a broken terminal. Surprisingly, it still had power. A faint blue screen flickered to life. Then a message appeared. Unknown transmission. If you have found the seed, travel to the city beneath the sands. The trader's eyes narrowed. The seed. It was the first time he had ever heard the package called by a name. Unknown transmission. The future of humanity depends on it. The screen went dark. The underground entrance. The transmission contained coordinates. After another day of travel, the trader arrived at a canyon hidden between massive dunes. At first, it looked ordinary, but beneath layers of sand, he found something incredible. A giant metal door. Ancient, massive, forgotten. Using an old access panel, he managed to activate the mechanism. For the first time in centuries, the door opened. Dust poured from the entrance as darkness stretched below. The Lost City. 5. The trader descended into the depths. What he discovered was impossible. An entire city buried beneath the desert, towering buildings, silent streets, ancient machines frozen in time. The civilization above had vanished long ago. But beneath the sands, its memory remained. Lights flickered weakly throughout the city. Some systems were still functioning, waiting, watching. The Guardian. As the trader explored, a voice echoed through the empty streets. Voice. Identity confirmed. The trader immediately reached for his weapon. A floating machine emerged from the darkness. An artificial intelligence guardian, one of the last remnants of the old world. Guardian. You carry Project Seed. Trader. What is it? The machine paused. Guardian. It is humanity's final chance. The truth about the seed. Narrator. The Guardian revealed a secret hidden for generations. Before civilization collapsed, scientists created Project Seed, a device capable of restoring damaged ecosystems. It could purify water, repair soil, generate plant life, and slowly bring life back to Earth. The seed was never activated. Humanity destroyed itself before the project could be completed. For centuries, the technology was lost. Until now, a new threat. Suddenly, alarms erupted throughout the city. Red lights flashed across the walls. Guardian. Warning. Unauthorized forces detected. The trader rushed to a monitoring screen. His expression hardened. Hundreds of vehicles were approaching the canyon. At their center was a massive armored transport. A black banner waved above it, the symbol of the Wasteland's most feared warlord. They have located the seed. Trader. How much time? Guardian. Less than 1 hour. The warlord. Narrator. Far above, the warlord stood atop his armored vehicle. He stared toward the hidden entrance. Unlike ordinary bandits, he wasn't interested in water or supplies. He wanted power, and with the seed, He could control the future of humanity itself. Warlord, bring me the package. His army roared in response. The invasion had begun. Chapter ending. Back inside the underground city, the traitor looked at the glowing metal case. For years, he had transported it without knowing its true purpose. Now he understood. The package was not cargo. It was hope. And soon, an entire army would come to take it. Narrator. Deep beneath the endless desert, the fate of humanity waited inside a single metal case, and above, war was approaching. Chapter 3, The Great Desert Chase. The siege begins. Narrator. The underground city trembled as explosions echoed from above. The warlord's army had reached the entrance. Massive drilling machines tore through the ancient gates. Dust and debris rained from the ceiling. The Guardian analyzed the situation. Guardian. Probability of holding the city, 3%. The traitor looked at the glowing seed. Traitor. Then we're leaving. Escape through the depths. Narrator. The Guardian revealed an emergency exit built centuries ago. A hidden tunnel stretched for miles beneath the desert. The traitor secured the seed to his motorcycle and raced into the darkness. Behind him, the ancient city shook violently. The warlord's forces were breaking through. For the first time, the hunter and the hunted were racing toward the same destination. The surface. The tunnel finally opened. Blinding sunlight flooded in. The traitor emerged onto a vast desert plateau. For a brief moment, everything was quiet. Then he heard it. Engines! Dozens of them! The warlord had anticipated his escape. Vehicles appeared across the horizon. They were everywhere. The chase begins. The traitor accelerated. His spherical-wheeled motorcycle surged across the dunes. Behind him, the warlord's army followed like a storm. Bullets ripped through the air. Sand exploded around him. The chase stretched across endless deserts, rocky canyons, and abandoned highways buried beneath centuries of sand. Every second brought new danger. The fallen highway. Narrator. Ahead stood the remains of an ancient elevated highway. Broken sections hung above a deep canyon. The traitor had only one choice. He increased speed. The motorcycle roared. The gap approached. Closer, closer. Then he launched into the air. For a moment, he flew above the canyon. The bike landed hard on the opposite side. The suspension groaned but held. Several pursuers weren't so lucky. Their vehicles disappeared into the abyss below. The warlord's arrival. The remaining army parted. A massive armored vehicle emerged from the center. The warlord himself had entered the chase. His machine was larger than any vehicle in the Wasteland. Heavy armor covered every surface. Multiple engines thundered beneath its frame. The warlord stared directly at the traitor. Warlord. Stop running. Traitor. Then stop chasing. The warlord smiled. Warlord. No. Disaster. Narrator. The pursuit continued into a violent sandstorm. Visibility vanished. The desert became a wall of dust. The traitor could barely see ahead. Then disaster struck. A hidden rock formation appeared directly in his path. Crash. The motorcycle slammed into the stone. The traitor was thrown across the sand. The bike rolled several times before coming to a stop. Its front suspension was destroyed. Smoke poured from the engine. His escape vehicle was finished. The secret inside the seed. Narrator. In the wreckage, the metal case cracked open. For the first time, the traitor saw what was inside. A glowing crystal core surrounded by ancient circuitry. Suddenly, a holographic recording activated. A scientist appeared before him. Scientist recording. If you are seeing this, humanity has failed. The hologram flickered. Scientist recording. The seed can restore life to Earth. The traitor listened carefully. Then came the final message. Scientist recording. But activation requires a guardian. Traitor. What does that mean? The recording continued. Scientist recording. Once activated, the Guardian cannot leave the seed chamber. Silence. The realization hit immediately. Someone would have to stay behind forever. The decision. The hologram faded. The warlord's army was approaching. Dust clouds filled the horizon. The traitor slowly stood. For years, he had survived by thinking only about himself. Now, the future of humanity rested in his hands. The choice ahead would change everything. Chapter ending. The warlord's massive war machine emerged from the raging sandstorm. Behind it, an army stretched across the horizon. The plateau was completely surrounded. There was nowhere left to run. The traitor lowered his eyes to the glowing seed resting in his hands. Then, he looked toward the distant mountains. Beyond them stood the Genesis Tower, the only place where the seed could be activated. For a brief moment, he had a choice: to surrender the seed or risk everything. The traitor tightened his grip. Without another thought, he turned toward the tower and ran with every ounce of strength he had left. The final journey had begun. Final narration. Narrator. For the first time since the world ended, hope was within reach, but hope demanded a price. And soon, someone would have to pay it. Beyond the desert storms, beyond the ruined cities, beyond the endless dunes, the traitor finally reached his destination. A massive structure rose from the sands. The Genesis Tower, the final facility built by the old world, the birthplace of Project Seed. Its ancient walls stretched high into the clouds, untouched by time. The activation chamber waited deep inside, and so did humanity's future. The last pursuit. Entered the tower carrying the seed, but he wasn't alone. The roar of engines echoed behind him. The warlord had arrived. His army surrounded the tower. There would be no escape. Only one side would leave victorious: Warlord. Hand over the seed. The traitor continued walking. Warlord. You would sacrifice yourself for strangers. The traitor finally stopped. For a moment, silence filled the desert. Traitor. They deserve a future. The Battle of Genesis Tower. 5. The warlord charged forward. The two warriors collided. The impact echoed throughout the tower. Punches, kicks, counterattacks. Years of survival had forged both men into legends. Metal shattered, concrete cracked, ancient walls trembled. Neither was willing to fall. The truth of the warlord. During the battle, the warlord spoke. Warlord. Do you know why the world died? The traitor remained silent. Warlord. Because humanity is weak. Another strike. Warlord. They fight, they destroy, they take. The warlord pointed toward the seed. Warlord. With that power, I can control them. Traitor. No. Warlord. You think they'll change? Traitor. They deserve the chance. Victory. Narrator. The battle reached its climax. The warlord launched one final attack. The traitor stepped forward. Everything slowed. One strike, a single decisive blow. The warlord fell. His weapon slipped from his hands. His empire ended in silence. For the first time in years, the Wasteland had no ruler. The activation chamber. Narrator. Deep within Genesis Tower, the activation chamber awakened. Ancient machines hummed to life. Lights illuminated the darkness. The traitor placed the seed into its cradle. Immediately, the chamber began to glow. Then a familiar voice returned. The Guardian AI. Guardian. Project Seed ready. Guardian. Guardian confirmation required. The traitor already knew what came next. If the seed activated, he could never leave. The choice. The chamber remained silent, waiting. The trader looked at the world through the tower's massive windows. Miles of lifeless desert stretched to the horizon. He remembered every village, every child, every survivor he had met. People who had never seen rain, people who had never seen forests, people who deserved more than survival. The decision became easy. Trader. Activate Project Seed. The rebirth of Earth. Narrator. The chamber exploded with light. Energy surged through hidden networks buried beneath the planet. Ancient systems awakened. Machines that had slept for centuries finally completed their purpose. Across the deserts, the impossible began. Tiny green shoots emerged from the sand. Dry rivers started flowing. Clouds gathered in the sky. For the first time in generations, rain began to fall. The legend. Narrator. Years passed. The desert slowly transformed. Grasslands spread across the land. Forests returned. Animals reappeared. Human settlements grew into thriving communities. Children learned about a world that once seemed impossible. A world filled with life. But one question remained. What happened to the trader? No one knew. No one ever saw him again. One day, many years later, a group of children explored a forest near the old Genesis Tower. There, hidden beneath tall grass and wildflowers, they found an ancient motorcycle. Its spherical wheels were worn by time. Its metal frame was covered with moss. Beside it stood a weathered scarf dancing in the wind. The children stared in wonder. Child, who did this belong to? No one answered, but far above, rain fell gently across the reborn world. A world saved by a single journey. A world saved by a single choice. Some heroes build kingdoms. Some heroes win wars. And some heroes change the future without asking for anything in return. The world remembers them by many names. But history remembers him as the last trader.
Yo! If you vibed with this, hit like and subscribe. Appreciate you.